cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't going.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant from NFL Network.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up, yeah. Don't roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta. This is Get Right Fantasy Network. I'm here solo tonight because my boy Classic Mike is feeling a little under the weather. We had a lot of family gatherings, things like that. It's just that time of year. So hopefully everyone's doing good, man. It's championship week. We are here for the last start-sit show of the year for our redraft folks here, man. So it's kind of bittersweet. If you're here with me, it's because you're still playing. We're still deciding who we're starting, who we're sitting, but I'm sure at this point it's going to be pretty much a no-brainer. Just you versus one person, one game to take home that championship, man. So hopefully you guys are all enjoying it there. If you do have questions, of course, comments, let me know what you need to have happen this week. I want to hear about it. And we should have some great football here this weekend. We have a Saturday game, which is nice. And then, of course, filling it out Sunday and Monday for the new year, man. So football on New Year's Eve is going to be kind of weird. So should be real fun here. So for anybody that is happen to be new to the channel, just scrolling across it for the first time, we're typically here during the redraft season, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Mondays, we do our overreaction. We give out game balls, talk waiver wires. Kind of recap your top performers. Wednesdays, we're here doing roster management, trade advice, just getting your lineups right. Fridays, like tonight, we're doing game-by-game previews, start, sit. And then we have a Sunday morning show for any of those questions we can't answer here because we're waiting for last-minute active and inactives. Our boy Classic Mike's here on Sunday mornings for you to get your lineups right before kickoff. Make sure you check out the timestamps and the chapters, or if you're watching this later. We'll have those in there for you and utilize that if you want to just kind of skip around to your specific game. Otherwise, enjoy the show. So before we get into it, of course, like I said, it is championship time. So, of course, I have to mention our boys over at trophysmack.com. We did just give out this 1,000 subscriber ring, fully customizable from our boys over at Trophy Smack. But you can customize your ring any way you want for your league. They even have belts, trophies, other swag like the Kirk Cousins chain, a bunch of stuff in there, man. So if you don't have one of these, talk to your league about getting one. One of these rings like this is only like an extra $7 per person in a 12-person league to have one of these that you can keep forever. So just add that onto your buy-in, man, and it'd be a fun little extra thing for people to play for. When you check out, first and foremost, follow that link down in the description. And when you do check out, use that promo code GETRIGHT, and that'll help support the show here. So enjoy it, guys, and let's get to it. We got KJ Flint in the house saying, "Yo, what's up, man? Glad you can make it out here." Got champions in the chat tonight, so that's cool. So let's dive right into the show, man. We'll do just a quick little recap of what we saw. Oops, wrong one. That was an old one here. Oh, we need a spell checker in here. There we go. Thursday night recap. Jets 20, Browns 37 in a shootout against two of the top, defenses here in the league this year. The Browns came in favored by 7.5. I think it maybe closed at 6.5. But it was a 34.5 point over under. So, Browns just came out. Joe Flacco didn't have Amari Cooper. It wasn't a problem, man. Njoku just popped off in the very beginning. He went, I think 113 yards or something in like the first like quarter and a half that he had. Didn't really do too much after. Had that fumble, unfortunately, but finished total 6 catches on 8 targets for 134 yards. Didn't find the end zone, but Jerome Ford did twice. One of those a 50-yard. Just Flacco scrambling out, making a play, throwing it to Ford, and he gallops and hits his head on the goalpost there. And then they kind of just came out and were quiet the second half. They just kind of played keep away and didn't really do much. Only scored a field goal after that, after putting up 34 at the half. On the Jets side, really the only promising thing to see there is Breece Hall. He's come back strong, of course, from that ACL. Can't wait to draft him next year. I know I wasn't, high on him this year, but I'm facing him in 2 leagues in the championship. So it's not off to a great start there. But yeah, he definitely showed out what he could do in the air. 9 catches on 9 targets, 42 yards, and a touchdown. So not bad there. He pretty much is that offense. Garrett Wilson saw 10 targets, but with Simeon thrown to him, only had 5 catches, 50 total yards there. Tyler Conklin, he's 5 for 5 for 45, not bad there. But that was pretty much it. So we'll see what happens next year with the Jets here. With Rodgers, obviously it looks like he'll be back. He wants Devontae Adams, so that's interesting. Will they make that happen? I think he also wants Bakhtiari from Green Bay as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And KJ saying Browns Lions Super Boys, calling it. There it is, man. There it is. You heard it here first. Browns and Lions. That'd be something else, man. And KJ Flynn is a Lions fan, man. Your Lions are doing good. I'm sure you're liking that right now. So that's not a bad spot to be in. So otherwise, the game, from a fantasy perspective, I ended up not starting Joe Flacco in 2 spots that I could have, which kind of hurt. But I did have Njoku in one of them, so at least I was happy, against that. But yeah, man, that was definitely tough seeing Flacco put up all those points after I dropped him. But I'm starting Geno in one league and Baker in another, so we'll see what happens there. So let's see. So we'll get into the games here. We'll start with the Lions, who are 11-4, at the Cowboys 10-5. Looks like it's a 5.5 point favorite for the Cowboys here at home. Over under 52.5 right now. Rico Dowdle ruled out. Everyone from the Lions seems to be okay here. So as far as this game goes, pretty simple. You're starting, Dak. I believe I have him. I think I have him top 10. I actually have him number 1. How did I not know that? Against Detroit, I feel like that's going to, be a shootout there. And then Goff, I have closer to like 15, I believe. Where do I have Goff? I have him about 8. Yeah, expecting the shootout there. So yeah, you're probably getting these guys in there. You got Goff in a dome. I know it doesn't play well on the road, but having him play in a dome usually is at least okay. So it should be good there. On Raw, of course, we're starting. CD, we're starting. Brandon Cooks is kind of on that borderline. I see him as kind of a low end flex option if you do have him. Tony Pollard. He hasn't been doing completely great. I have him kind of closer, I think, around 15. 17 right now. Just a couple other guys, that I like ahead of him this week. He's just kind of been off and on. It's pretty much been the Dak show there. So, Gibbs, I think, is going to be good. Demont, I'd have in there as well. Although I do have him kind of down a little bit, just because it does look like he is ceding some goal line work to Gibbs. It's like they give him the 1 touchdown, and then it's pretty much Gibbs like the rest of the game. Even though they technically split touches, basically in half last game, it's still a little tough. So But I think, you could start both of them. And then as far as the tight ends go here, Laporta, I'm starting him, and Ferguson, I have him, I think about 6 or 7. As far as tight ends go, let me see. Yep. So I have him at 7. And Laporta I have at 4. So, pretty much starting a lot of the guys in this game with the 52.5 point over under. Should be a good game here tomorrow. So moving on to the Dolphins at the Ravens. We have Baltimore coming in favored at 3.5 with the 46.5 point over under. On the Dolphins side, you have Mostert, Achane, Tua, Tyreek. They all look like they're going to be a go. Unfortunately, Waddle ruled out with that high ankle sprain. He's not going to be playing this week. So maybe that means Achane could have a better game. Maybe if Waddle's not there. I know Waddle was, does better when Achane wasn't there, but he hasn't quite been the same. I'm definitely starting Mostert. I do have Achane, kind of down right now. Let me go back to that here. So yeah, I have him all the way down at like 27. I'm probably going to move him up actually to about 26, 25. But yeah, there's several guys I like, a little more. Plus the matchup against Baltimore. And then you have, I have Mostert at 19 just because of that, where normally Mostert's, usually top 10 or higher for me. But yeah, tough Ravens defense, of course. Could be a little biased after what happened to my Niners, but we'll see there. On the Ravens side, Zay Flowers, he was limited in practice today. He's going to be listed as questionable. OBJ, though, hasn't practiced all week, so I don't know if he was ruled completely out, but that's definitely something to keep an eye on. But on the Ravens side, you're starting Lamar. You're starting Flowers, if he does play. I think you got to get him in there. Likely might be an interesting play, if for whatever reason Odell and Flowers are a no-go. And then, of course, running backs there. You have Gus Edwards. We saw Melvin Gordon didn't do anything last week. Maybe they try to work him in this week. And then, of course, Justice Hill. I have him as a sit. Not quite there yet. But, I feel like if you need to, you could get Gus in there, kind of towards that low end RB2 range if you need him. And then Tua, I have him a little lower again against this Ravens defense right now. But, if he got you there, it really just kind of depends on who else you have, access to. I have him at like 14. So, most likely you're starting him as well. Let's see. So, yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Not, do anything with Durham Smythe. And yeah, I think that's everybody there. Of course, Tyreek is, we don't got to talk about that. So let's see. So next game here is going to be Patriots at Bills. You have Buffalo coming in at 14-point favorites with a 40.5 point over under. Diggs was added to the injury report here on Friday. He wasn't spotted at the open portion of practice. Zeke did, I think, miss practice yesterday due to an illness, but he's going to be good to go. Juju's been ruled out, and I'm sure you guys all know Ramondre Stevenson has been placed on the IR. So as far as guys here, I'm staying away from pretty much all Patriots here. On the Bills side, you're firing up Allen, you're firing up James Cook, you're firing up Diggs. Again, Gabe Davis, you just have to be okay with the 0 if you're putting him in your lineups. With Knox back, it's hard to get Kincaid and Knox in there. So I think I have them both listed as a sit. But of course, if that's the best option you have out there, I'd go for it. But I would start likely over those two, but I wouldn't start Hunter Henry over them at this point. So who else we got there? Devontae Parker, I couldn't, you can't do it. And then of course Zappy, you're not dealing with any of that. So, yeah. So I don't know if I missed anybody there. Maybe Khalil Shakir. I'd probably stay away from him, with Knox back. and I think that's about it on those two teams there. So let's see. Got Nino in here saying, if my opponent in the championship has Kyron, should I want to start or sit Stafford in this scenario? You typically don't. I don't really pay attention so much to, what the other teams' matchups are. I mean, I understand there is kind of that, aspect to it as far as like kind of having like an anti-stack. But for me, I'm trying to just get the most points out of my lineup. Now it depends on who you have instead of Stafford. That's what makes a difference. I have Stafford as, my number 7 QB this week. So I guess if you had 6 of the other quarterbacks I have ahead of him, which include Mahomes, Allen, Purdy, Jackson, Hurts, Prescott, then yeah, I'd play them ahead of him. But if you have, if you have like Justin Fields or Stafford or Geno and Stafford, or Tua, like I'm still playing Stafford with this matchup against the Giants over those other ones, regardless of who he has. So you just hope he, of course, throws the touchdowns, and if he throws a touchdown to Kyron, then it kind of negates that touchdown, which isn't the worst case scenario. He gets you a little bit on the yardage, but it's not too crazy. It's not like it's not enough for me to make a difference. So there you go. He said, yeah, he appreciates the info because I didn't know how to look at it, but it's between him and Stroud. Yeah. So Stroud coming off the concussion, playing against Tennessee. I mean, I just have him down below Stafford. I have him as my QB 10. So, I mean, it is close. And if you have that feeling and you don't feel like, doing that and you want to kind of, just avoid that situation, then yeah, I mean, it's not terrible, going to Stroud. What did he have against Tennessee? Let's see. Did he even play in that game against Tennessee a few weeks ago, or was that the game he got hurt? Oh well. I don't have my stats thing up right now, but I mean, I like him. You got Nico coming back. We'll get in that game, but anyway, there you go. We got Ray in the house saying, "What's up, Rasta? How's it going, man?" He said, "Mahomes or Purdy?" I actually got Purdy ahead, man, against this matchup with Washington. Mahomes again is going up against Cincinnati, man, but I mean, he just hasn't been, putting up any points. I have him, kind of there. Basically like back to back 5-6. Purdy Mahomes, so it is very close. But just with what Mahomes has done, if I had both of them right now, it's just purely going up against this matchup. He has the weapons and ability to be able to do it. I think obviously he wants to put that game last week behind him. Could just be my homerism talking, but I'm going Purdy over Mahomes this week. So again, I don't have to make that decision anywhere, so it's easy to maybe say right here behind the mic to get bold and make a prediction on that because it doesn't affect me personally, full disclosure. But I would take that, like I think it would be a chance I would take. But I could see how if you just want to go down with Mahomes, you go down with Mahomes. Just depends on what you can do with, based on, the results of the game. It's not like Mahomes has been scoring nothing. Like he's still putting up decent points playing bad, but where you drafted him and what you expect from him, 30, 40 points, and now you're just happy if he gets over 20, which before Mahomes could get just 20 in his sleep. So it's tough, man. It's tough. So anyway, Ray says, keeper league, keep 4 from Hill, Barkley, Chubb, Eckler, Stroud, Mostert, and Ayuk. That's tough. I think you have to keep Barkley. Chubb, you could potentially let go. We don't know. Obviously it was a pretty bad knee injury. But again, guys are coming back strong. Eckler's a little on the older side. We don't know where he's going to go or how they're going to use him, and he just hasn't looked great this year, unfortunately, even though he's our guy. Hill, I assume that's Tyreek Hill. You got to keep him. So you're keeping Hill. I'm keeping Barkley. Stroud, you could take or leave. It just depends on what other quarterbacks are available or how many other people are keeping, quarterbacks. If you're wanting to keep him, for a long time, obviously, it's not like Dynasty, so it's not as much, as valuable. Because you can kind of swap them out and there's going to be players available. But I could see how you'd want to keep Stroud. And then, if it's PPR, I like Ayuk as well. So yeah, I think I'm going to go Hill, Barkley, Ayuk, and then either Stroud, or if you want to take the chance on Chubb, I'd go there. So that'd be my answer. So yeah, let me know what you end up doing there, man. We got Freshwater in here saying I have to start 3. He has Diggs, but he's been underperforming lately, so he's not sure. Devonta Smith, Higgins, Demarcus Robinson, and Noah Brown. So I'm not starting Diggs over Noah Brown, that's for sure. Higgins, it looks like Chase might play, but we don't know what to the extent. Going up against Kansas City, oh, that's tough. That is tough. So if I'm starting 3, Devonta Smith for sure, Higgins I think for sure, and I don't think I could start Diggs over Robinson or Noah Brown, regardless of what his performance is. Going up against New England, I mean, I couldn't do it. I couldn't live with myself if he had a good game. But at the same time, if you see Robinson or Brown go off on your bench, that's going to be tough. So yeah, I mean, I could see how you're doing it. But to me, if I had invested in Diggs, and from what we know now, man, I mean, Robinson's behind Puka and Cup. They're both healthy. There's nothing to say why, if he gets a touchdown or good yards, it's, I don't want to say it's fluky, but he has just scored a touchdown in the, last 2 or 3 games, I think it is. Noah Brown, he's kind of a little banged up, but again, when Tank Dell's been out of the lineup, Brown has done pretty well. With Nico there too, I just can't do it over Diggs. So I'm gonna go Diggs, Smith, and Higgins, and I wouldn't mind going down with that, so to speak. But if you're feeling frisky, man, go for it. I could see how you. Again, it just depends on how you feel on that. Like, are you kind of like start your studs and do that, or if you're willing to take a gamble, go for it. And if you were, I'd probably go Robinson against the Giants over Noah Brown. Again, even though it's a nice matchup against Tennessee. So Noah Brown's more the 2 instead of the 3. But the Giants, yeah, I'd probably go Robinson over Brown a little bit, but it's close, man. It's close. So yeah, keep them coming, man. So we got Joe in here. What's up, Joe? And make sure, guys, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button for me. If you're already subscribed, hit that like button for me. Helps out just as much. We'll keep getting to your questions here, and then we'll get back to our game-by-game breakdowns. We have non-PPR, pick 1 running back and 1 flex. He has Monty, Connor, Nico Collins, Zamir White, and he's starting Olave and Ayuk and CMC. Let's see. I wish Connor wasn't going against Philly, even though their rush defense hasn't been nearly what it is, but they can, put up a game. I mean, they've lost, quite a bit in a row. They barely pulled that game out last week. Got out of hand a little bit late there. I'm going to say in non-PPR, we have no Josh Jacobs. Man, that's a tough one in non-PPR, man. I think I'm going to go. I think you got to go. Ooh. It's Indy at Indy. White's been doing crazy. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Monty and either Connor or Collins. But I think, again, in non-PPR, I would take the chances with the running backs, scoring a touchdown, Monty and Connor. That's That's who I go with. So hopefully that helps. Show that's a tough choice though, because I like those guys, but I played in a lot of PPR. But I do have one of the championships I'm in is a non PPR. I'm playing Cup, Nakua, and Collins in that league. So I hope he does. I mean, I hope Collins does well. I am playing him in a non PPR, but I don't have the options. To I actually have money in that game, and I'm actually sitting him for Brees and I'm sorry, not Brees, Bijan and Mixon, which I'm still not sure on. I might have to get money in there, but I'm just not liking what I'm seeing with that Gibbs takeover there. But I still think they, get him in the end zone. So if you're feeling a little frisky or not as confident in money like I am now, maybe you go Connor and Collins in that one. I can't get behind White. I've seen what he's done these last couple games, but I just I can't do it even against Indy. But because I said that, he'll probably go for like 80 and 2 touchdowns because I said that. But it is what it is. Ray said bail on Eckler. Not like a bail totally. Like I still have him. I think top 10. I still think I have him top 10, Ray, but he's been. Like for this week, like I don't know where he's going to go next year, and who knows? Like I have him at 16 this week, so I don't even have him top 10. It's tough, man. And he's talking about that. Who does he keep? I believe. Yeah, with this keeper league here. I would, man. We don't know where he's going to go or how they're going to use him. He might just like turn into a third down back. I think you get again if you want to swap, Eckler for Stroud or someone like that, or maybe you're not feeling Ayuk, depending on where he goes. A lot of that's going to change. Some of these guys might be changing teams here, especially Eckler and Ayuk. They might change teams. So anyway, all right. See, you pulled me back. You pulled me back to the question, but it's all good. That's what we're here for. We got Steven in the house, man. What's up, Steven? How's it going? Hopefully hit that subscribe button for us and then hit that like button as well. He says, I have to start 3. He has Puka, Cup, Rashid Rice, and Rashid Rice. Let's see. I had it at first, but now that kind of confused me. So Rashid Shaheed and Rashid Rice, right? So I'm personally starting Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup. I do like Rice as a third one there, going up against Kansas City, especially or Kansas City going up against Cincinnati. That's why I got confused. Going up against Cincinnati, that defense has just been tough over there. I like what he's been doing there lately. The Shaheed could pop off. Like if you're behind, maybe you could put Rashid Shaheed in there. If you really need to get something going. But I'm going to go with Puka. I'm going to go with Cup, and I'm going to go Rashid Rice out of those 3. So there it is. He says he needs to start. Oh, he says CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Cup, and Rashid Rice. Well, if you have, I think that's only 3. Maybe he has more. Hold on. Maybe I'm behind. Oh, here we go. I think we got it finally correct here. It says I have to pick 3. Cooper Cup, Puka Nakua, St. Brown, Rice, Lamb. Any help? All right. I think we finally got to the right question here, Steve. No worries, man. I kind of just look at, one question at a time. I don't kind of look all the way ahead doing it here by myself tonight. But he says I have to pick 3. Cooper Cup, Puka Nakua, St. Brown, Rice, and Lamb. So in this case, you're putting CeeDee Lamb in there for sure. You're putting St. Brown in there for sure. The toughest decision you're going to have is going between Cup and Nakua. I actually have Puka Nakua a little ahead, especially if it's PPR. He just seems to be, doing that thing, but they've kind of been alternating, maybe because, Nakua had it, the big, game last game. Maybe he tries to get Cup in there. Here, Cup had I think he had 2 end zone chances and the one that he just totally missed. So maybe they connect there this week. But I have to get Lamb in there. I have to get St. Brown in there. And then I think I'd actually go Puka, which almost makes me sick to say. I couldn't decide between the 2 of them. That's why I'm going down with both of them potentially here this week. I'm riding them out. But I don't have, better options like St. Brown and and Lamb. Rashee Rice definitely taking a backseat to these guys here. So to me, it's just depending on who you like better out of Cup and Nakua. You probably feel like me, you couldn't really split them up, and it's hard to tell which week to start them. So yeah, that's a really tough call, man. But I think I have Puka actually ranked a few spots higher. But I think I have them both like top 12, top 10 even. So yeah, I have Puka at 8, again, going up against these Giants, and I have Cup at 12. So I literally have them both top 12. So yeah, that's tough. That's tough, man. Really tough. So yeah, let me know what you end up doing, man. Let me know which way you're leaning on that one. All right. So let's see, where was I at? Ray says Chandler, Montgomery, or Reed in the flex, full PPR. Full PPR. Watson's out. Looks like Wicks is going to play. Looks like Reed is going to play. Chandler, Minnesota going up against Green Bay. I think I might go Chandler, man. If you're feeling a little frisky, I could go Reed in a full PPR. I think Montgomery's going to take the seat here for me. Just with that Gibbs split, Gibbs has been the one scoring multiple touchdowns, every week. I'm going to go Chandler. Let's see where. Yeah. That's tough. But I'm going to go Chandler there, man. I think, Green Bay's been giving up, a lot, and they're going to want to run the ball. You got Jalen in there. Maybe he doesn't check down to the running back. He likes to be, or Jaron Hall, he likes to run around a little more. Against Minnesota defense, they haven't been as good. Yeah, I think I'm still going to go Chandler, man. I'm going to go Chandler on that one. But that's tough, Ray. I couldn't blame me for going either one of those guys, any of those other guys. I think Reed has the highest ceiling. I think Chandler just gives you a nice floor. Montgomery could go either way, but I think he has the lowest floor potential. All right. So Nino was in here. What's up, Nino? How's it going? Said Pittman seems to be suiting up. So would you take the risk with him or Bijan versus Chicago? I'm going to go Bijan in this situation. I'm not going to go Pittman. I'll take Bijan in Chicago. They've been tough against the rush defense, but they give up a lot of points to receiving running backs. So I think Bijan could have a nice week 17 for you and take it down. I'm starting him personally. Maybe it's a little bias, with me on that. But yeah, I think he has a chance to produce. The only thing would be is if there's some crazy weather. I don't think they play on Saturday, do they? No, they both play Sunday, so I think we're good. So you'll be able to decide if there's some kind of crazy weather or something going on in Chicago, then maybe. But yeah, otherwise I'm going to go Bijan there. Steve says I have to pick. We got to that one already. We got Freshwater saying ETN over Chandler and Zamir White this week. Yeah, I'm definitely playing ETN. No Trevor Lawrence. So I have ETN as my running back 3 this week against Carolina. They give up so much on the ground. They should just run him. He should have 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. If not, then they're doing something wrong over there in Jacksonville. So put the ball in ETN's hand. Let him eat against this Panthers defense. I believe they're giving up the most points to running backs so far. They're top 4 in half PPR. Full PPR, 5. So, yeah, I'm getting him in there. I'm getting 18 in there for sure over Chandler and Zamir. All right, so we have Jasmo in there. How's it going, man? How's it going? Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for us, and then once you subscribe, hit that like button for me. Helps out just as much. So Jasmo's in here saying I have Eckler, Tyson Chandler, Zamir White, and Swift. Which one do I sit? So he just needs to sit 1.5 PPR. In this one, I'm gonna sit. Probably gonna sit Zamir White. In this case, going up against. I know it's against Indy. I could see him, scoring there. But you got Philly. Where is it here? Yeah, Philly's going up against the Cardinals, so you want to get Swift in there. Hopefully he continues what he was doing last week, and they realize they just need to give him the ball. Eckler, you got to kind of trust. Ty Chandler, you just saw. I feel pretty good about him. Zamir White, he's just an unknown. No, he's coming off a couple good games, but just that offense for the Raiders wasn't great. Their defense is what won them against Kansas City, and then they got up and were able to, just in a running it out mode. I don't think they'll be like that against Gardner Minshew, baby. He's not Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, so I'd still give Eckler a shot, but I could see if you don't feel, quite comfortable with Eckler, I wouldn't hate it, if you wanted to go wide, if you like what you've seen there. But, if you made it this far, I'd go Eckler, Chandler, and Swift. Eckler going up against, I believe, Denver, who that was the last time he had a good game, I believe was against Denver. They pretty much make any running back look good. And obviously the whole benching of Russell Wilson and that whole situation. Yeah, Chargers at Broncos. So I'm going to go Eckler, Chandler, and Swift there. We got Rafi in the house saying it's ship week. Let's go, baby. Congratulations. He's playing for one of the Listener League championships. So there we go. We got Ray in here asking, pick one, pizza burger or burrito for the rest of your life. I assume that's pizza, burger or burrito for the rest of your life. For me, it'd probably be burrito, man. I do like burritos. I like pizza every once in a while. My son really likes pizza. Burgers they're great. I like them. But yeah, if I had to just pick something for the rest of my life, I'll take a burrito for sure. As long as it's like a super burrito where I get like the beans and rice and cheese and onions and cilantro and, all that good stuff, your hot sauce and all that, then for sure. Let's see. Steve says Bijan or Mostert. You got Mostert going up against the Ravens. You got Bijan going up against the Bears. I was just talking about them. I like Bijan here. I think I'm going to go Bijan. You got Mostert a little banged up. Looks like he's going to play. I just don't like that he's, been a little banged up right now, dealing with an ankle. You don't quite know. And again, the matchup's not great. You have a better option, in my opinion. I'll go Bijan. I got Bijan 8. I have Mostert at 19. So there we go. We got Ray asking Pollard, DJ Moore, or Noah Brown in the flex, full PPR. I'm gonna go DJ Moore there. I'll go DJ Moore. I know the Atlanta defense has been a little tough. I think they have a couple injuries. I could see if you wanted to go Pollard, but I'm probably going to go DJ Moore in that situation. There you go. Rafi says pizza because it's versatile, but you can make a Mexican pizza or a cheeseburger pizza if you wanted. I guess on a technicality you can. So there we go. We got Steven saying thanks, brother. So thank you, man. Appreciate it. Good luck to you. Hopefully, again, I'm just here to give you the information, give you, one of my sides. Remember, you're the one starting the lineup, man. So go with it. Go what's, been working with you. Now's not the time to get cute. Do what's been working for you. Don't overthink things, in the championship. But more importantly, take it down. So there we go, man. We'll be rooting for you. All right. So we're caught up in the chat there. Again, you guys got anything you want, put it in the chat there. Again, let me know, love to see your team. If you made it, you're in the championships, let me know, who you're wanting a big game from. I like to hear all those things. Otherwise, we will continue on here with our game by game breakdowns and who we're starting, who we're sitting. So I think we left off Patriots Bills. So we'll move on now to the Falcons coming in 7-8 at the Bears, who are 6-9. You got the Bears favored by 2.5 right now with 37.5 point over under. Daryl Mooney's been ruled out. Cole Kmet's questionable. I don't think they're gonna, risk it. They're already eliminated from the playoffs. Dr. Foreman was a full participant. all week after missing last game, but it was due to a personal issue. So I think, I'm staying away from all the Bears running backs here. Who knows what's going to happen in this three-headed backfield. I'm probably starting Justin Fields in this situation. I'm starting DJ Moore. I think, they'll be able to perform. On the Falcons side of the ball, you got Taylor Heineke starting again over Ritter. But I'm pretty much sitting, Taylor Heineke, and that's the type of situation. I'm starting Bijan, like I mentioned. I have him as my RB8. Drake London, have him more kind of like as a wide receiver 3. Kyle Pitts, I mean, I guess if you need to throw him out there, if you still have him, why not? But yeah, otherwise, I mean, pretty much, you're kind of staying away from this Falcons offense. They've had their moments, but, I just like Bijan here, Tyler Algier, maybe you can get in there. They seem to put him in at weird times and, scoring touchdowns. So I could see maybe if you wanted to throw him in there as a flex, or if you're, desperate in a RB2 type situation, given it's just the last game of the year. But otherwise, that's pretty much it for this game. 37.5 point over under. You're not getting too invested in this game here. Let's see. Ray says, later, fellas, good luck to you all. 3 of 5 chip games for him. Good night. So there you go, man. Take it down. Good luck to you, brother. We'll be back here Monday to celebrate. Win or lose, we'll be here. If it goes wrong, we want to hear about it. We'll be the place to go, but hopefully it's the place of celebration. So I know a lot of us will be doing that on Monday. We got Edgar in here saying, first and foremost, what's up, Edgar? Escobar Vasquez, how's it going, brother? He says, do you think Aaron Jones will do more than 51 rushing yards against the Vikings? So I liked his usage last week. Let me just bring this up now. Like looking them up in sleep easier. Let me make sure I'm speaking properly on this. So we're talking about Aaron Jones, 51, more than 51 yards. I just don't know if it's because I'm off a week because of the holiday here. So I know he had the 21 carries for 123 yards, but I think that was 2 weeks ago. So I just want to look it up here and make sure I know what he did last week. While I'm looking that up, Nino is in here asking thoughts on an 18-week league. I think it's weird because you got some teams and players that are only going to play like a half. Sometimes they're going to be sitting for people who can't, gain anything. They're stuck or they're out, especially your franchise players. So I just, some of it even starts to happen in week 17, but, the way things are pretty close, I haven't heard too much about it now. But definitely in week 18, people will be sitting. I mean, maybe your specific guys, wouldn't on your team that year on an 18-week league, but I definitely think it's nice not having that, having that situation come up when your guys aren't even playing a full game sometimes. So that's just my thoughts on that. All right, so let's get back to this Aaron Jones question here. So there we go. Oh no, so it was last week. Okay. So yeah, first he had the 13 carries for 53 yards, and then they unleashed him 21 carries, 127 yards, 1 catch, 3 targets, 8 yards there. So now he's facing Minnesota in Minnesota. He got vultured that touchdown from AJ Dillon. Otherwise, I think he should easily have more than 51 rushing yards, barring injury, of course, against the Vikings. So if that was a prop bet, I'd take the over on it. So yeah, and speaking of which, I hit a nice little prop with our boys over at underdogfantasy.com. Let me throw up our little thing here. Make sure you guys use that promo code GetRight. But I did one of the pick'ems for the Thursday night games. I had taken the over 1.5 touchdowns for Flacco, over the yardage for Njoku, which I think was like 40 something. They had Amari Cooper. I took the over 53 yards, but because he didn't play, it got voided. Who else was it? Njoku. Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall. I took the overs on both of them. I barely got the Garrett one. It was like 47.5, and he only got 50 yards. But yeah, I hit, man. Turned $10 into $125. Wasn't a bad night. Again, you could find that all on underdogfantasy.com. Promo code Get Right when you do, man, and get in one of those pick'ems, man. They're a lot of fun. So that was really cool. So yeah, so back to Aaron Jones. I would take it. So thanks for the little segue there too, Edgar. That was awesome. I appreciate that. There we go. And he says thank you. So good luck to you, man. Good luck to you. There's obviously injury risk. Things could happen. But yeah, otherwise, there you go. Nino says, yeah, this is my first year of fantasy, and he made the championship, but realized everyone's saying this was the last week. Sadly, got the 18 week. Oh, man. Yeah, if you have a new commissioner, that does happen sometimes with a brand new league. But hey, man, just play it out. You guys, it's tough to say, what you could or couldn't do in that situation. But, at least now, and you have like shows, and, now that you're, watching shows like this, you'll start to figure out kind of what the quote unquote norm is. But more importantly, like embrace every league. There are different rules, but there's some things you kind of want to just, get in there because, yeah, that's what happens with an 18, when you play week 18. They end up, sitting guys or something like that, and just kind of makes it, a little funky. But at the same time, it could just be a challenge, and maybe you have to have a good bench to, take home the actual championship. So, there's definitely a thought process behind it. But yeah, I would say the majority of leagues are 17-week leagues. And before we added the extra game, it was only a 16-week league. And the championships were weeks 14, 15, and 16. So we've all adjusted just the last couple years to 15, 16, and 17. So good stuff. And again, welcome to fantasy football, man. It's a lot of fun. I've been playing over 20 years, man. It's been a lot of fun, going along this ride. I've seen a lot of stuff, been a part of a lot of drafts, a lot of trades, and again, a group of guys, that's the best part about it. Being able to play the game, man. So welcome to it, and keep telling your friends and everyone about it, and keep doing stuff like this. It's a great little community for all of us, nerds to hang out and play this game, man. So again, welcome, and again, appreciate you supporting the show here. So yeah, make sure you guys all, while you're watching, hit that subscribe button for us. If you're already subscribed, hit that like button. Helps us out just as much. We'll continue on with our game-by-game breakdowns, and then we will, again, always take your questions. So drop them in the chat, and when I get finished the next game, we'll get to them. And said he appreciates that. What was your favorite best trade this season? My favorite trade this so far this season was, which is weird because I used to be known for doing like the most trades all the time, but really since a little bit, like starting this show, because of all the mock drafting that I've done, being part of the show. Again, you see it says down here, home of the Friday night mocks. We're here in the off season, which again, if this was your first year, make sure you come mock with us, man, in the off season. We do mock drafts every Friday night. We break the teams down, talk about roster construction, where you should be drafting, how you should be drafting, and putting teams together, based on if you're in the front of the draft or the back end of the draft. Having different strategies from, running back heavy, zero RB, hero RB, you hear us throw all this stuff around. So make sure you come check us out, in the off season for that. But getting back to your question here, my favorite trade so far this season was getting Puka traded. I was able to pick up Puka Nacua off the waiver wires. And when Justin Jefferson went down, basically that Monday or Tuesday, I traded Puka Nacua for Justin Jefferson straight up. Probably my favorite trade of the season. It didn't work out quite as much as I wanted to. It took him a little longer to get back than I hoped. And then, of course, the Kirk Cousins injury sucked in the middle of all that. And I thought it was a terrible trade. But I was able to get, Justin Jefferson back. He's playing still with me on that team. I have a chance to win the championship with him. And right now, it's a 3 wide receiver and a flex. And I believe my 3 wide receivers in that one, which I have that team up right now, So I'm rolling out Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, and I have Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett on the bench right now. Also had Quentin Johnson, but he didn't really do anything. But yeah, so to be able to be rolling out Jefferson, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams in a 3 wide receiver league, plus having someone like Calvin Ridley and Lockett as my depth, that was by far my favorite trade this season. So turning a waiver wire guy into the 101 was pretty fun. So yeah, so appreciate that question, man. That was a cool question. So we got Joe back. What's up, Joe? So he says non-PPR, the same non-PPR league. He says pick one, McBride, Goddard, or Ferguson. Non-PPR makes it a little tough because McBride, he really hits those targets, and gets the catches, not so much, scoring opportunities. If it's non-PPR, you're kind of thinking who's going to be best against, or who has the most chance to score a touchdown. I think it's going to be Ferguson in this case. I think Dak looks for Ferguson, in the goal line, whereas, Goddard, that was his kind of big issue. If he's going to score, it's usually going to score from, ways out, just because they have the whole tush push and, that whole thing. And then McBride, just is Arizona really going to get, close enough to score? I mean, he could, but, he really is more targets and yardage, catches and yardage. So if I had to guess which guy's going to score a touchdown out of these three, it'd be Ferguson, who I think is going to have the most yardage. It would be McBride. So it just kind of depends on what, you prefer to get in that spot. So hopefully that helped you out a little bit there, Joe. I think the only thing I could say is it'd be between McBride and Ferguson. For me, I'd probably hold on Goddard at this point. So there you go. He said, yeah. Nino said, yeah, he definitely showed up when you needed him the most, at least. Yeah, and I did have a first-round bye with that team, so I didn't have his bad game. And then, he went off for me last week and helped me get in the championship. So, yeah, it was a great trade. Great trade. Steve says, I bet no one has seen Puka being as good as he's been this year. Yeah, he went undrafted in several places. However, to show you guys how sharp, the listeners are, in our listener league, when we reviewed our drafts a couple weeks back, for the listener league, there was actually a couple people that had taken him, in the 10th, 11th round, as things kind of started heating up and getting close. I think it was more so because of that cup injury that some people were just taking a flyer on Puka like super late. But like I said, I was able to get him in one of my leagues just off the waiver wire. In a couple other places, I kept him in one spot and ended up trading him and turning him into Jefferson in another. So yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, no one really saw it. There was a couple of people that were like, especially in the Dynasty world, that, really liked him. But I don't think anybody saw, the opportunity that he had, this year. So, yeah. Nino says, I'm from, Michigan, and I think Laporta surprised me the most. Yeah, he's an Iowa tight end, but dude, just breaking records. Yeah, man. So if you were with us last offseason, man, we were big Laporta guys over here, especially my boy Classic Mike. I think he plays in 6 leagues, and he has him in all but 1 league. Or he was able to trade and get him in all of them, I think, by the end of the year. So yeah, man, we're big time Laporta fans over here. We didn't think he was going to be as good as he was immediately. But he was definitely someone, we were taking, as a later great, option. And you were getting him even past Kincaid. People were taking Kincaid ahead of him and everything. So yeah, I drafted a lot of, late tight end teams. And I got him a lot in my Underdog best ball drafts, but only had 1 share of them in one of my paid leagues, and only one of those. So the word was out. But yeah, I play with a lot of sharp people, so they know my guys. They try to take them from me in these drafts. So anyway, there we go. Attitude Era Mark, what's up, man? He says, "Go Niners, let's go, baby, let's go." He says McBride or Goddard. So if you were still watching when I kind of answered Joe's question up there, I don't want to repeat too much of it. But basically, kind of depends if it is full PPR or not. If it's any kind of half full, tight end premium, I'm definitely going McBride. I think Goddard's, decent, but, in any type of full PPR, I'm going McBride. Maybe if it's non-PPR, you'd go Goddard over McBride. But like I said in, Joe's question, I for sure had, McBride and Ferguson ahead of him. I'm in non-PPR. So I think in all situations, I'm going McBride. Oh, and then he says, and Stafford or Golf. Oh, okay. I hope that's not part of the same question. I have Stafford ahead in this one with Puka. With just what he has available to him. Higbee looks, a lot better. You got Higbee, you got Puka, you got Cup, you got Demarcus Robinson. So he has weapons there. Even Tutu Atwell. And he's been playing great. So there we go. We got Tresner in the house. What's up, man? Welcome back. He says, I don't know if I'm gonna like this one. He says Ravens defense will make Purdy look like he doesn't belong in the NFL. He said me before the game. LOL. JK. Just had to give me a hard time. Yeah, man, that was a tough pill to swallow, man. I was kind of glad it was a holiday and I didn't have to come on here on that overreaction show. But it definitely hurt. I think I mentioned a little bit in the Wednesday game or in the Wednesday show, but maybe I just completely steered away from it. But yeah, man, it still hurts. I'm ready to get this game under our belt. Hopefully it's a get right game for us here against Washington. They got Jacoby Brissett banged up, so we might even be playing against Sam Howell, which might even be even better. But yeah, it's nice to have, a game like this, hopefully get ourselves together, refocus. It was nice to kind of be on the other side of it. But it definitely stung. It hurt, ready to wash that taste out of our mouth, man. So I'm ready for Sunday to get here so we can do that. And it's an early game. It's going to be interesting. Early gaming in Washington, 10 a.m. game. So I'll be on the road driving, go pick up my son from his parents' house. So yeah. All right, man. So we'll continue on here. Hold on. Attitude here says he got Stafford. Wide receivers is Ayuk, AJ Brown. Running backs are Gibbs and Bijan. Tight ends McBride. He's flexing Mostert. Defense Jacksonville. Ugh, that might be a tough defense. You might let me know who else you got defense out there. Kickers Jake Elliott, not bad. Bench is Pacheco. How do you get? Oh man, I might want to get Pacheco in there ahead of Mostert actually at your flex. DK popped up with that back issue, a little scary. Goddard, nah. Najigba, nah. CH, I don't think he's playing. He missed practice today. And then Najee. Any changes? Rate me. So in half PPR, he says. So as I was going through it, that's kind of what I told you. I'd probably go Pacheco over Mostert. Again, I don't want to get in that matchup with Baltimore. Tresner says it's crazy that the Ravens are that good. Of course they have to be good when we're good again. People we lost the damn Super Bowl to one of the last times we were there. Anyway, yeah, I'm still a little salty. Don't worry. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna go Pacheco over Mostert. I want to see Pacheco, running against this Cincinnati defense ever since DJ Reader has been gone. They've been getting gashed. So I like that play there a little more than Mostert against there. Otherwise, I like what you have going on there. So I wouldn't make any other changes besides Pacheco over Mostert. But and the defense, I would look for maybe a different defense. That Jacksonville defense has been kind of rummaged. Let me know what other defenses you got out there. Let's see. I guess they're going against the Panthers. Their defense isn't great, but I guess they're going against the Panthers. Tampa over New Orleans. Nah, New Orleans could put up points. He says Denver, Rams, Tampa. Rams might get a lot of sacks. Tampa, Houston against Tennessee. Denver might be the only one I would consider against the Chargers, just against Stick. No Allen. Like, they've just been doing kind of bad over there. But I guess Jacksonville's, they're going up against the Panthers. So, it's the worst team in the league. I can't tell you to start another defense over the one that has the worst team in the league. So, my bad. You're good there. So, I think, I just think Pacheco over Mostert would be my only one. But again, if Mostert got you there and that's how you want to go out or win it with, then go for it, man. I support you. I support you on that. It's not like, oh, you couldn't. For me, it's just one of those feelings, and one of those things. So it's tough. Yeah. So it shows no. Yeah. I didn't realize that, so I stand corrected on that one. Keenan said it's real nice for me, and Keenan was real nice for me this season, so he's staying in my IR to enjoy the chip. Yeah, I like doing that kind of stuff. They say pick up like a lucky player, so that's always fun. That's always fun. All right. All right, I think we're caught up there. So yeah, guys, got anything else? Throw in the chat. Otherwise, we'll get through the rest of these games here. We're hitting the hour mark. We'll try to finish it off here as soon as we can, but definitely here to answer your questions as they come up. So I think where we left off was that Falcons Bears game. So we'll move on here to Titans, who are 5-10, at the Texans 8-7. They just played 2 weeks ago. Houston's coming in with the 4-point favorites, 44-point over/under. CJ Stroud, they said he's going to be starting. He's out of the concussion protocol. He'll be good to go. Nico Collins is good to go over that calf now. Noah Brown should be good to go. So there it is. Will Levis looks like he's going to be good to go on the other side of the ball. And then everybody else should be there. So as far as starts and sits here, a lot of tough guys in this game as far as a fantasy standpoint. You got CJ Stroud. There's only a handful of guys you're kind of, starting over him. I have him, I believe, is still in my top 12. Where do I have Stroud exactly? Just got to worry about maybe if he's a little rusty or timing's off, things like that. But I still have him as a top 10 quarterback now. I have him ahead of guys like Carr, Fields, Geno, Tua, Kyler. So there we go for CJ Stroud. Will Levis, I have him down at the bottom, so I have him as the sit right now. Still dealing with that high ankle, even though he's good enough to go. I'm getting away from here in my championship. What else we got? Running backs here. Singletary should be a decent start here. Titans rush defense. They're more pass funnel team, but they have been struggling a little bit against the run lately. Let's see where they're at right now. Yeah, so they're giving up the 21st most points, or like basically they're good against the run. Only 17.5 half PPR points they average to the running back position, and that's total and not an individual running back. So Singletary, I could see could get in there and be decent if you needed to. I think I have him as a top 24 type guy, RB2. Derrick Henry's a tough one. He hasn't had a great game, didn't have a great game against the Texans last time they played, but historically he's always ran for like 200 and had 3 touchdown games against them in the past. But this isn't your grandpa's defense anymore. So Derrick Henry, it's hard to get away from him if you're still playing, if he's the one who got you there. So you're probably finding a way to get him in your lineup. As far as the wide receivers go, D-Hop, he's been decent, but he's hit or miss on the Titans side. Otherwise, he's the only one I'm really considering, on the Titans side. And then, we've talked about Nico. I like him. Noah Brown, I have him low end flex. There's several guys that I like ahead of him, as we've kind of mentioned through some of the chats here. So, really just kind of depends in regards to Nico Brown. But, there's some situations where I could see getting Brown, into your lineup, multiple flex spots, things like that, injuries, just depending on what you have available. Who else we got? Tight ends here, Dalton Schultz. You could find a way to get Dalton Schultz in there if you needed to. He's, had decent, production here. Again, he's a tight end, so it's like, hey, get someone in there that gets the ball thrown to him, and that does happen in this offense. So I'm okay starting him if you need to. And Chig, he's had a couple moments here and there, but I pretty much have him as a sit. There's several other tight ends, with higher upside that I'd go after. I think that's it. Tajay Spears, if you really need to, multiple flex play. If the Texans get up big, it could be, you could see a lot of Tajay Spears. So really kind of just going to depend on that game script. But yeah, I don't think you really need him here in the championship game. You probably have better options. All right. We'll move on here to the Raiders at the Colts. Raiders coming in at 7-8 after beating the Chiefs last week. You have the Colts coming in at 8-7. So an opportunity if the Raiders here, they could make both these teams 8-8, make things interesting in that AFC race. You have Indy favored by 3.5 here at home. So there's basically a pick'em game. Started off as a pick'em and then moved to 3.5 here. 42.5 point over under. Josh Jacobs is a game time decision. He's listed as doubtful though, so it is going to be Zamir White again. And then for the Colts, Michael Pittman is out of the concussion protocol, so he is slated to go. But Zach Moss, dealing with that forearm injury, has been ruled out. As far as the Raiders go, quarterback position, Aiden O'Connell. I have him as a sit. On the other side, we have Gardner Minshew. I could see where you could start him. I have him at 16. So maybe you're in a situation where you need to start him. But otherwise, he's a sit, 1 QB leagues. Most likely. Again, everybody has their certain situations. Not a bad defense, to go up against, although they were, did pretty well against Pat Mahomes last week. So who knows? Antonio Pierce better keep this job is all I got to say. And then who else we got in this game? Jonathan Taylor, we're playing him, of course. Zamir White. Again, there's certain situations where you could play him. Again, we were talking about earlier some of the folks that I felt they had better positions than White, but again, I could see if you're in a situation to get him in your lineup. As far as the wide receivers go, you're going to start Adams. You're going to start most likely Michael Pittman, probably sitting Josh Downs at this point, and you're not starting any other Raiders receivers. Michael Mayer, I believe, is out, so I think it's going to be Austin Hooper again. And you're not starting a Colts tight end here. So really Adams, possibly Minshew if you're in a situation, Jonathan Taylor. Those Jonathan Taylor and Adams are your must starts. Jacoby Myers had a decent game last week. He has a chance to get in there, but I have him more on towards the side of his sit, low end wide receiver 3 flex. And then, yeah, that should wrap that game up. Let's see. Attitude said, thanks for the help, brother. No problem. What else we got here? Steve says, what's your top 5 QB starters for week 17? So my top 5 QBs right now, I have in no particular order. No, this is the order I have them. Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Josh Allen, followed by Mahomes, Stafford. I think I have Mayfield, Goff, and then Stroud. Derek Carr and Fields to round out my top 12. So there you go. So Prescott, Hurts, Jackson, Purdy, Allen. I wouldn't be mad at you if you shook them up and put them in a different order. But I think they have chances for big weeks this week. So hopefully you got one of them. Tresner says at one point, Titans was a solid number 1 run defense. Yeah, man. Losing Jeffrey Simmons for a while there, hurt their overall numbers. I think he's back now, but yeah, that for a while, they started falling apart, and they just, they've been suffering quite a few injuries up and down their line. So it's tough when you can't stop the run. Makes it tough there. So there it is. All right, so we'll keep going here. Make sure you guys, like I said, keep dropping in the chat, man. Appreciate the support. We'll get through the rest of these games here. We have Panthers at Jaguars next. Panthers coming in at 2-13. Jags at 8-7. Jags are favored by 6.5. 37.5 point over under. Trevor Lawrence didn't practice all week with that shoulder injury, as well as other injuries, ankle, knee, everything else, all banged up. He's been ruled out. They shouldn't need him to beat the Panthers, so it's probably a good time for him. I think it's his first game he's missing in his career so far. So there you go with Trevor Lawrence. CJ Beathard's going to get the start. I'm sitting probably both these guys here. As far as the running backs go, ETN, big time play for me there. You know, I could see Chuba Hubbard. He could have a good game as well. He's been getting a good amount of touches. And if they move, you know, the offense like they did last week, you know, they could, you know, continue to do good. You know, they moved it, I believe it was against the Eagles, and gave them a little run for their money there. So we'll see what happens here this week. Miles Sanders is going to be a sit. As far as wide receivers go on the Panther side, Thielen, I could see if you needed to get him in your lineup. If I had other options, you know, I do have several guys ahead of him. I have him more like a flex play now. He did have that good run. You're sitting Jonathan Mingo. You're sitting whatever tight end they're rolling out there as well. On the Jaguars side, Calvin Ridley is there. I don't think Zay Jones is going to be there. I didn't get that update on that. But if he's not there, of course, Christian Kirk on IR. It's, you know, Panthers haven't really given up a lot in the air just because they give it up on the ground. So their numbers, you know, as far as fantasy goes, they're not a great matchup for wide receivers. But again, he is the only guy there. But again, the targets are coming from CJ Beathard. You heard me earlier with the team I was talking about, where I had AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson. I'm actually playing even Chuba Hubbard in this game over Calvin Ridley in this situation. So we'll see. Maybe I swap it out, you know, last minute. But as of right now, that's how I'm leaning. And then yeah, you're starting Evan Ingram there. He's the only other target that they have, and I think he can do well. So that should wrap up Panthers Jags. Let's see. Tresno's asking Rashee Rice or Nico Collins in the flex. That's tough, man. I do like both those options. That's really tough for me. Oh, I think if it's half, or I think it's going to be. I think Rashee Rice has a higher ceiling, but I feel super comfortable with Nico Collins. Like, well, that's tough, man, because I really like both these players. So, you know, you got Nico Collins going up against this pass funnel Titans defense. They've been allowing, let's see. Titans, they give up the seventh most points to the wide receiver position, allowing 31.1 points to the position per game. I mean, geez, it's just too good of a matchup. Too good of a matchup there. And then who are the Chiefs playing again? The Bengals. Bengals are 9, so it's right there, and that's why it's so close, 30.1. So you're talking about literally 1 point difference per game. As far as matchup goes, you got obviously a great quarterback throwing to one of the guys. You got an up-and-coming quarterback, you know, throwing to the other. Nico Collins, I like that. He's a big guy, you know, end zone. You know, they've been putting up points. Interesting, a little more than Kansas City right now. They've been struggling. Rice has been playing well, though. He's been putting up points. If I had the two, man, and I had to decide between the two, I think I'm actually rolling with Nico Collins, man. But that's tough. I can see it going either way. You just hope they score within like a point of each other, and then, you know, you don't lose by a point. Is all I could say. But that's tough. And he says it is full PPR. 8-channel Singletary over either one of them? Nah, I have Nico over all these guys. He says he has Debo and JJ in the wide receiver slots, so it's a tough choice. Yeah, that is, man. And you're not getting away from JJ, even with Jaron Hall, and you're not getting Debo out of there against this Washington offense coming off a loss. You know, he's going to be pumped up. So, yeah, that's a tough choice, man. But I think I go Collins. But like, I'm going to have so much Rashee Rice shares next year. I think he could, you know, hopefully be good for them, unless they end up like drafting somebody else or trading for somebody. But he might be a nice number 2. You know, maybe Higgins or, you know, Mike Evans or someone like that goes to the Chiefs, and, you know, there we go. He says, thanks. He said he's going to start Nico. He was leaning Nico too. I'll be with you, man. I got big time league. Got a whole belt riding on Nico Collins. I'm in one of my leagues, so I'll be rooting for you, man. So if he does you down, I'll be feeling it with you. So so there we go, man. Good luck. Let's get it done. Let's bring home those chips, man. Let's do it. All right. So we'll continue on with the games here, man. We'll get you guys out of here. Appreciate you guys for sticking it out. Next game up on the docket here is going to be the 8-7 Rams going up against the 5-10 Giants. We have LA coming in, playing real good, favored by 5.5 with the 43.5 point over under. Puka did pop up on the injury report, but they're saying he should be good to go. So I'm not worried about it. He's basically been on the injury report all year, and still continue to produce and play through it. So starting with the quarterback positions here, Stafford, I have him as a top option. You have Tyrod Taylor. There could be worse options out there, 2 QB leagues, things like that. Maybe you could get him in your super flex or that second QB. Otherwise, I have him as a sit. Definitely starting Stafford. As far as the running backs go, Kyron Williams, I have him as my RB2 this week against the Giants defense. Their just line is just terrible. So, he should be a no-brainer. Start there. Saquon Barkley, not a bad matchup for him, and the offense is going to run through him. So you kind of just got to get him in there, based on volume alone. So I have him listed as a start. Just temper your expectations potentially. Just you never know what's going to happen with this offense. But Tyrod seemed to move it pretty well when he came in. So we'll see how they do. The Tommy DeVito era is over, it looks like. So that was nice. It was nice while it lasted. What else we got here? Wide receivers. So obviously Puka, we're starting those guys. I have them both, top 10. Again, Demarcus Robinson, we talked about him a little bit earlier. If you really need a boom play, and he's one of your options late, depending on kind of who you have. He could be a potential a start there, but I do have him pretty much as a sit, just as far as normal rankings go. On the other side, we're sitting all Giants wide receivers. Maybe you could start Darren Waller as a tight end. Rams been giving up, I think, like the 8th most points to the tight end position lately. So, maybe he has a big game, but he even was on the injury report. And I don't want anything to do, with Waller personally on that. Oh, not like a personal, but just, I wouldn't have waited for him, and I'm definitely not popping him in. And I just feel like he can be hurt and leave your team, any moment. So plenty of other tight end options out there that I feel maybe they don't have his upside, considering he really is one of the only targets to throw to there. But again, with Tyrod, he could have a decent game, but I'm not putting my fantasy championship in it. So I'm okay to be wrong in that situation. So there we go. So that should wrap up Rams Giants. If I forgot anything, let me know. Otherwise, we'll move on here to Cardinals Eagles. And again, if you guys have questions or anything you want to contribute, throw it in the chat. And we'll get to it here. Cardinals coming in 3-12 at the Eagles 11-4. Phillies favored by 11.5 here, 48 point over under. Hollywood Brown put on the IR today, dealing with the heel injury, so he is going to be out for the rest of the season. Kyler Murray didn't practice all week due to an illness, but they're saying he should be okay, but just something to keep your eyes on there. Otherwise, you're pretty much starting all your Eagles. You're starting Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Goddard at times. Not, some of the questions we got, he was, kind of the last guy, but they had, good, better options than Goddard. And then on the Cardinals, pretty much James Conner, Kyler, if he plays, are the only guys I like. Maybe someone like Gray Dortch or Michael Wilson pops off with, Hollywood being out. And then, of course, Trey McBride, you're going to start him if he plays. So, yeah, McBride, Connor, Kyler on that side, and then, pretty much everybody else on the other side. So, yeah, Cards Eagles. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. He says, Chuba Singletary or Achane if Kamara sits. I haven't heard of Kamara needing to sit, but if he did, it's going to be between Chuba and Singletary to me. I'm just not feeling Achane against Baltimore this week. But again, that could just come back to bite me in the butt. We've seen what he's capable of, so just because we didn't see it in a couple weeks doesn't mean it's not still there, ready to explode. But yeah, I think you get a nice floor with Chuba. Singletary could go either way, just depending on how that offense starts to run with CJ Stroud back at the helm. But I would just take my chances with Chuba. I think he's the safe, nice floor play. Somewhat good upside if he can score a touchdown. We'll get the touches. But if you're feeling frisky, you can go H-Chan if you want some crazy upside, or if you want maybe a little more upside with potentially more downside, then you can go Singletary is kind of how I would categorize that. We have Tresner says he picked up White because he has Jacobs and he's playing him. Yeah, if you're in one of those kind of situations, you could definitely, just play him. So there you go. All right, so we'll get back to it here. Next game coming up here is going to be the 7-8 Saints visiting the 8-7 Bucks. Playing for trying to get tied for first place here in this division here. So very important game. You have Tampa Bay coming in favored by 2.5, so that means they're actually liking the Saints a little bit better here because normally you get 3 points being the home team. You have a 42.5 point over under. Chris Olave still battling that ankle injury. He was limited all week. Alvin Kamara was added Friday with an illness, which is what Tresner was talking about here in case he sits. You have Chris Godwin on the injury report, but he did practice in full, so he should be good to go. So as far as start sits here in this game, you have the quarterbacks, Baker and Derek Carr. I have Baker and Carr both as starts here. I have Baker at 8, and I have Carr at 11, so they're both top 12 options for me. And again, a game that they're going to be playing hard for. Last time Baker had 3 touchdowns in this game. So and a little. I have him. I'm starting him, and I started him over Flacco, so I'm hoping he has a big game. I guess that's Baker at least. But yeah, I do like Carr. With Olave. Rashid Shaheed could be a good matchup. This could be a good game. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching it. And of course, you're starting Mike Evans, you're starting Chris Godwin, you're starting a lot of guys in this one. You're starting Olave. I can see you getting Shaheed in there, low end flex. Olave is going to be low end 1. High end 2, and Jawan Johnson scored touchdowns the last couple games. He could be a potential flex, with Hill out, or just playing limited, not like he was before. And I'm not starting K. Dotton. I have him as a sit, so at least we have somebody we can sit in this game. All right, so there we go. We will now move on to the 49ers coming in at 11-4. Visiting the Commanders at 4-1 or at 4-11. You have Niners coming in favored by 13.5 with the 49.5 point over under. Brian Robinson Jr. is finally healthy and no injury tag as he was recovering through the bye week dealing with the hamstring injury. On the Niners side of the ball, looks like Brock, Debo are going to be good to go. Also Trent Williams, they're all off the injury report. He was dealing with that groin, so it looks like it was more so just because of the score getting out of hand. No reason to push them and stay healthy. Revenge game for Trent too, so I'm sure he wanted to be there. Revenge game for Shanahan actually too, trying to get revenge for his dad for letting him go. The whole Washington thing over there. So I'm sure the Niners want to wash that bad taste out of their mouth, but we'll see what happens. You have Brissett, was named the starter, but then he popped up with the groin injury today, so it's going to be interesting to see, where that goes. So it'll be something you have to keep your eye on there. But yeah, as far as who we're starting in this one, quarterbacks, we're starting Brock, we're sitting Brissett. In most cases, running backs, obviously, we're starting CMC, you're starting Debo, you're starting Ayuk, you're starting Kittle. Let's just, we're starting all 49ers for the most part there. On the Commander side, if Brissett plays, I like TJ McLaurin. I think he had more yards, with Brissett than he did with Sam Howell all year. So he's definitely a good fit there. Curtis Samuel, I have him as a sit. He kind of popped off there the last couple of weeks, but cooled down a little bit. Jahan Dotson's basically been a disappearing act all year, unfortunately. So I have him as a sit. Brian Robinson, maybe you could put him in there if you're in a tough situation, but I'm pretty much trying to sit him as well. It could be bad for the Commanders. At least I hope it is as a fan. So again, take all that with a grain of salt, of course. You see the hat, so a little bias there. I'm really ready for this game to happen. I'm glad it's a 10 o'clock game, so we could just get it out of the way and focus on the Rams. Should be a good game next week for us. So we'll see. All right. Anyway, we'll move on here to the late games. We have the 8-7 Steelers versus the 8-7 Seahawks. We have, if the Steelers get a win this week, they'll have another winning season for Tomlin. So we'll see how it is. And I've heard some places too that Tomlin might be on the hot seat or something. Like, why would you get rid of? Anyway, you have Seattle coming in as favorites at 3.5. It's a 41-point over/under. Mason Rudolph is the starter. Najee Harris didn't practice Wednesday and was limited Thursday. I think he was good to go today. Like we said, Metcalf was out of the injury report dealing with a back injury. Ken Walker didn't practice. He was back limited today. Carroll said he's going to be a game time decision, so we'll see what happens there. So as far as who we're starting, who we're sitting, Rudolph we're sitting. Gino, I have him as start, in between that like 12 to 15 range. I'm personally hoping he has a good game. Again, I'm starting him over Flacco. So I really hope he has a good game. Probably going to think about that all off season if I end up losing that game. Why couldn't Cooper just play? If Cooper played, I was starting him in both leagues, but Cooper had to be out, Anyway, where was I at? Running backs. So Najee, Jalen Warren. I could see if you wanted to start, both of them. I do like Warren, here as well too, as like a low end flex play. On the other side, Ken Walker, Zach Charbonnet. We're just gonna have to keep our eye on that situation with Ken Walker. If Charbonnet ends up getting the starting role, not going to be a bad situation for him to have getting that work there. So he would creep into my mid RB2, low end RB2 type range. Wide receivers go. DK scares me a little bit with that back injury, but assuming he plays, you got to get him in your lineup. You're starting Tyler Lockett as well. JSN could be a low end flex, but I'm probably sitting him on the other side of the ball with the Steelers. Deontay Johnson I have as a sit. George Pickens if you need some boom. We've seen what he's been able to do. Pat Fairmouth I'm sitting, and maybe you could get Fairmouth in there, but he hasn't really been doing much. And then of course Noah Fant on the other side you have as a sit as well. So I believe that's everybody in this game. That's fantasy relevant. So good luck to you if you have any guys in here. Should be an interesting game. We'll see what happens there. All right. We have the roll in here saying Hall or AJ Brown in a keeper league. So Brees Hall or AJ Brown in a keeper league. That's tough, man. Is there any like round penalties or anything like that? Like I would need a little more information. That's tough, man. That's tough to choose if you can only keep one. I'd probably lean towards Hall, but it also depends if you have other keepers and it's no cost. You just get to keep them. It says no cost. Man. That's interesting, man. I guess it would kind of come down to how you like, your team's built. If you feel like you can, get some, find some good value at wide receiver later, or you feel like you could just draft, good wide receivers early and, have Hall kept, then you can go Hall. It's tough to invest in a running back because we've seen if they do get hurt. The safer option is AJ Brown, but the way they've played this year hasn't been completely great. We've seen Brees Hall, and he should only get better. This might be one of those situations where I probably just go Hall. I think firing at all cylinders with Aaron Rodgers and everything like that, we've seen what he was able to do with Aaron Jones, and I think Brees Hall might be a better talent than Aaron Jones. So yeah, man, that's tough. So, I'd probably go Hall, man. I'd roll the dice with Hall. There you go. Tresner agrees. Says love me some Brees Hall. The rule says I like Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors to draft next year. So yeah, man. So make sure you keep in tune with us here, man. If you haven't already, and I don't know if I've seen this screen name before, so hit that subscribe button for us, man. We'd appreciate it, and we do mocks, all during the off season. And of course, we did have our boy Fantasy Tycoon join us from the Fantasy Boardroom, and he's going to head up a lot of our Dynasty content here in the off season. So we'll definitely be talking those prospects as well. So yeah, so make sure you stay in touch, man. We'll be putting some stuff out, turn those notifications on, and come hang out with us, man. So there we go. Tresner said he's definitely getting some Harrison shares. I think, man, the only problem with mine is a lot of my dynasty leagues, man. I trade all my picks away, dude. I don't have many first round picks, and if I do have first round picks, I don't think I have a high one. But in one of the leagues that I tanked in purposely this year, looking like I'll get either Caleb or Hall in this one, or Marvin Harrison Jr. So I'm pretty excited. I'll have at least one share. Or I might go Drake May. I don't know. I'm hoping he goes quarterback so that I could just grab Hall and not have any issue with it. So the rule says he's keeping Bijan and Chase. It's 3 keepers. He traded Gibbs for Chase. What do you think of that trade? That's not a bad trade in a keeper, man, because again, you could keep the wide receivers, I think, longer. Tough with Gibbs. Crazy that he got rid of Gibbs instead of Bijan. That's kind of the big debate, and I think that's what it will be all off season. Is Gibbs a better prospect prospect than Bijan? In their current offenses, it does definitely look, Gibbs right now. But as far as like if Arthur Smith, gets fired and they go a different direction, and someone else comes in and really, uses this offense, or maybe they trade for like Justin Fields and he's in a better situation, then that's tough. But I do like that you went and got Chase. But yeah, trading Gibbs for him over Bijan, if nothing changes over there, it's going to be tough to trust Bijan next year over someone like Gibbs, who has basically been handed the keys, and we've seen the explosion. So yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I like the trade. It's just I like the other side of it. I like seeing who's choosing Bijan over Gibbs. So that's good stuff. And Dresner says, "Oh man, Gibbs is way too good." Yeah, so I think he's just saying what I was saying. He said he got a lot of value out running back though. So yeah, you did, man. You hit out of the park. It's not a bad situation to be in. You should be set here, and I like it since it's keeper and you're just picking 3. You could easily replace those guys. It's not like Dynasty where you're holding whole rosters. So yeah, that's good stuff. All right, so where do we leave off here? So we were talking Steelers, Seahawks. So we'll move on here to the 5-10 Chargers visiting the 7-8 Broncos. You have Josh Palmer, Keenan Allen didn't practice all week. Allen has been ruled out, and Josh Palmer has been ruled out. So there you go. Easton Stick at the helm because there's no Herbert either. So it's going to be all, hopefully the Eckler show for those of you guys that have Eckler that are still in the playoffs. Going to be tough to start the wide receivers here, man. With Quentin Johnston, he just hasn't quite, showed his ability. Who knows if it's there or where it's coming from, but I couldn't trust it right now. So I'm probably pretty much staying away from everybody but Eckler. On the Charger side of the ball, like maybe if you want to get Gerald Everett in there as a tight end, I could see you flexing him. Otherwise, I'm pretty much staying away from that. As far as the Broncos go, they did bench Russell Wilson for Jared Stidham. So he'll be starting. You have Cortland Sutton in the concussion protocol. He didn't practice all week and he's been ruled out. So it looks like Jerry Judy's there. But again, who knows what this offense is going to look like, with Jason. I thought it was like Jared Stidham. He wrote Jason Stidham here. Either way, with Stidham at the helm. And, so we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be interesting. I'm trying to stay away from, this. I do like, the Broncos defense. I'm starting them in one of my championship leagues that has a defense. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation, tough situation over there. I don't know if I could trust Judy. I don't know if I could trust, anyone on this offense. Like maybe if you wanted to start, Javonte Williams going up against this Chargers defense, they have given up a good amount of points to running backs. Let's see. Yeah, they're 10th most points to running backs. So, I could see if you wanted to play Javonte Williams there, Eckler, maybe there's the only two that I'm messing with. Otherwise, I'm staying away. So there you go. Chargers at Broncos. Let's see. Guys are talking about the Bichon Gibbs debate in there. So keep it going. All right. So got a couple more games here, and then we'll call it a night. We have the Bengals 8-7 at the Chiefs, and who are 9-6. You have Kansas City coming in favored 6.5, 44.5 point over under. You have Joe Mixon dealing with an ankle injury, but he's good to go. Jace is considered a game time decision. He was limited in practice this week, so he has a chance to go. If he doesn't go, of course, Higgins should be a good start. On the other side of the ball, Kadarius Toney's ruled out. Isaiah Pacheco's ready to go. And CH popped up on the injury report dealing with an illness. So there's a chance he's out. So as far as quarterbacks go here, I'm probably sitting Browning in most situations. Obviously, most of the time you're going to have to just start Mahomes. There's only, a couple guys that I'm starting ahead of Mahomes. Otherwise, you're starting him. You have Joe Mixon I have as a start. Pacheco I like as a start as well. I have Pacheco over Mixon actually in this one. Wide receivers go, Rashee Rice, I do like him. Otherwise, I'm sitting all the other Chiefs wide receivers. We're starting Travis Kelce, of course. Bengals, I think, give up like the most points to the tight end position. If not the most, they're up there. Second. Yeah, so I think Broncos give up the most. So yeah, you're starting that. We're not starting any you're starting Chase, you're starting Higgins. I'm sitting Boyd, sitting in all the other Bengals wide receivers. Maybe if you want to go with the tight end, you can, but pretty much have him as a sit to Hudson. So yeah, so that's Bengals at Chiefs. Any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we will move on here to our last game, Sunday Night Football. Packers at Vikings. Oh, wait, is there no Monday night game tonight this week? Oh, yeah, no Monday game. That's New Year's. So all the games, no Monday Night Football, guys. No Monday Night Football. All right, so Packers 7-8 at the Vikings, also 7-8. Division game here, so a lot of implications on this one. You have literally a 0 point. Vikings are favored by 0, so you have the Packers coming in with the Vikings favored by 0. Vikings were favored by 2, but even though a lot of the Packers players guys got, I think they became questionable. I don't know. It's interesting that it's literally a dead even game. 43.5 point over under. Packers, Christian Watson is doubtful. He's been ruled out. Luke Musgrave most likely out. Dontavian Wicks, he's questionable, but looks good to go. And Jaden Reed looks like he'll be good to go as well. Vikings just have the quarterback change, of course, going with Jaron Hall over Nick Mullins. As far as the quarterbacks go here, I have both of them basically as a sit, unless you're in a dire situation. Otherwise, I have them both as a sit. Running backs, I do like Ty Chandler in this one. I do like Aaron Jones in this one as well, so I do like the running backs here. Wide receivers, I like Justin Jefferson. KJ Osborne could be a sneaky play there with Jordan Addison. Oh, yeah, that's right. Jordan Addison dealing with that ankle injury. So we'll see where he goes. I think he's listed as questionable right now. But I do like KJ Osborne if Addison is out. More like a flex. There's obviously several guys I like ahead of him, but if you're in a situation, we can see what happens. Again, got to kind of hamper expectations with Jaron Hall at the helm. We'll see what happens. Tight ends, or Madison, I'm sitting as far as the running backs go. As far as tight ends go, if you want to get Kraft in there, Tucker Kraft, you can. Otherwise, with I think it's Oliver that's over there now with Hawkinson being rolled out. Dealing with that ACL tear, unfortunately. I think I'd have Oliver as a sit. So that should wrap it up. So there we go. So yeah, man. So I appreciate you guys for sticking it out here. I want to, of course, say thanks again to our sponsors, TrophySmack.com and UnderdogFantasy.com. If you guys go check them out, the links are down in the description. Make sure you guys use the promo code GetRight when you use any of those. And otherwise, hope you guys make sure you check out our affiliate channels as well. We have the Fantasy Frontline podcast, the Checkdown podcast, and the Dead Zone Fantasy Show coming soon. So make sure you guys go support those channels as well. So other than that, man, I hope you guys have an awesome championship week, man. I hope you guys are back here with me. I guess New Year's is Monday. It's not like a holiday like Christmas was. So we might be here. I'll talk to Frank. We'll see what happens. We'll get here so that we can, hopefully bask in our glory, talk about our championships, man. I can't wait for it, man. Get excited. It starts tomorrow, or I guess technically it started on Thursday. So points are being put up, man. Let's go do it. Let's take it home. I have a team on Underdog that I finished. I'm in the final round. I'm in the top 235 out of 70,464 people. I'm top 235 with the chance to win 25 grand. I doubt I'll get it with the team I have, but just to be in the running for that is pretty cool. So again, if you guys want some excitement like that, man, make sure you guys go check out UnderdogFantasy.com. It was only a $4 buy-in, man, and I have a chance to win 25 grand. I think I'm walking away with no less than like $110 or something like that off my $4 entry. So again, make sure you guys go check it out. Let's see. Oh, I got one more question here. I'll answer from our boy Roberto Perez. He says, "What up, man? He's in the fantasy championship. Would you start Jaden Reed or Calvin Ridley? And would you start Achane or Zamir?" So I think I would start Zamir over Achane right now. Again, you have to be okay if Achane pops off. But Zamir's been doing okay, and it's a decent matchup. So I could see if you'd want that usage in there, just because again, Achane's going to be splitting with potentially two other backs with Wilson and Mostert. So that's going to happen. Zamir's pretty much it's his backfield. You just hope the game stays close so he can be in it. The other question's a little harder with Jaden Reed and Calvin Ridley. That Minnesota defense is banged up right now for Jaden Reed, but he's banged up a little bit himself. Calvin Ridley's the only guy there really except for Evan Ingram, but it is no Trevor Lawrence thrown to him. It's CJ Beathard, which he kind of did decent with when Beathard came in, for him. He was targeted. So it really is a coin flip. I'd probably take my chances with Jaden Reed. Some people are starting to call him like Baby Debo. They run the offense through him. It's hard to sit him. So yeah, man. Hard to sit really in this situation probably. But I think Reed has the higher upside and will still give you a decent floor. In a nice close divisional game between two, semi decent teams. Again, you're playing against like a third string, rookie type guy getting, like his second start. It didn't even finish his first start. So, yeah. I'd probably go Jaden Reed, but it's tough. I could see how if you go Calvin Ridley, but yeah, man. Jaden Reed could do it for you. Bring home the chip. So let's get her done. Tristan says, "Have a great night, Anthony." LFG Nico. So absolutely, man. We'll be writing it out together, brother. We'll make it happen. So again, man, good luck to all you guys out there, man. Bring home those chips. Bring home the belts, the rings, whatever it is that you're playing for. Of course, the money, of course, is always a nice thing. But the bragging rights, the championship is all worth it, man. So. Oh, I got one more question before you snuck it right in before I started my sign off. The rule says Hall with Rodgers back will likely be a first rounder next year, right? I would assume so, man. Absolutely, especially with so many of the older backs, leaving out of there. I mean, he was being drafted in the second, third round early on. Coming off the ACL, so I don't think there's any way he's out of the first round. It might honestly. I still think it'll be CMC. I don't think we've seen anything this year to not take CMC as the first running back off the board. The only other one I would think that might go ahead of him would be Gibbs, but Brees should be at least top 3, top 4, now. So make sure you stick with us, man. 1 week after the Super Bowl, the first Friday after the Super Bowl, will be our first 2024 redraft mock, just to get one in there with all of our assumptions. And then we'll take a little break here. Like I said, we'll have some Dynasty content and things like that popping up before we start our Friday night, our weekly Friday night mocks. So make sure you guys, definitely, come hang out with us here in the off season, and we'll definitely be, see where those guys are falling in ADP. So it'll be a lot of fun, man. So you're saying appreciate that. He says, yeah, especially with Brees, giving him 27 on Thursday for sure. I'm playing against him too. I almost played against him somewhere else too, but he sat him, so I was happy about that. But damn, in the other league, you got me. All right, guys. So for the last time here, man, good luck. Take home those chips, man. Take home that money. Let's get it right. Roll those sleeves up for this week, and this is what we played for, man. This is what we do this here every week for, to be in this position, man. So good luck. Take it down. Don't let up now. Let's get it done. So from all of us here at Get Right Fantasy, man, we appreciate you growing the channel, hitting 1,000 subs this year, man. It's been an awesome year. Let's finish it off with the championship, and hopefully take down this Underdog tournament. That'll be a lot of fun too, man. So we appreciate all you guys. Classic Mike should be here on Sunday unless he's not feeling well. But anything we couldn't answer right now with some of those last minute actives and inactives, he'll be here Sunday morning to help you with that. We'll be watching football, man. Hopefully we'll be back here Monday with you. So for myself, man, for Frank, for Classic Mike, for Tycoon, for my boy Dustin, we appreciate all you guys, man. Take it home. Peace out. We shall see you next week. Good luck. Let's do it.
Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go